Hello, you beautiful queens. You are getting a BTS look at my new program, Instagram Stories to Sales. Now, I have not birthed a new program in well over a year. I've taken a huge break from creating new programs, courses, offers to solely build out my core mentoring programs. Okay. Now I've come back. This is my first sales driven program, and this is all about converting from your Instagram stories. Now, don't get me wrong, girls. I haven't always been able to make sales from my Instagram stories. To be honest, selling on Instagram stories was like this massive frustration. I was so present. I was posting up 20 stories per day. I was always active. I was always doing everything I thought I needed to do. But I was not making the sales and I could not work out why. And it was like the most frustrating thing. Even my mentor at the time was like, I don't know what to tell you. Even she was kind of stumped. And I was like, okay, something's not lodging here. It's too random. It's too sporadic. I'm not actually building trust. And the number one thing that you need to be doing on your Instagram stories is building trust. So if you watch my content strategy training, which is included in this program, you will know a little bit about how I now work my Instagram stories and my grid content in conjunction with each other. So the first thing that you need to know, and I'm going to give you some free coaching in the session because you're all on my email list and I love you all to death. The first thing you need to know is that your grid content needs to be nurturing your offer sales from your Instagram stories. So right now, if your grid content is just completely random and you don't have a content strategy, but your offers are not selling on your stories, this is going to be why. This is the missing link. So you need to be nurturing around your offers, creating problem-aware content, educational content, and that beautiful brand building and trust building content in you on your grid in order to make sales on your Instagram stories, okay? If you just drop an offer on your Instagram stories, even if you have massive eyeballs and massive visibility, it doesn't mean it's going to sell. So what you do need to be doing on your stories is posting middle of funnel and bottom of funnel content only. Your grid content is mainly your visibility content and some conversion and some trust building content, yes, but mainly your reels are to get eyeballs onto your profile. Your Instagram stories are now no longer that generic call out content for visibility. It's now trust building material. It's connection to you, connection to your offers. It's sharing lots and lots of ample social proof. It's sharing the embodiment of your work. That is what your Instagram stories are for. So inside this program, I am breaking down everything you need to know in terms of sales psychology, selling to different buyer types, okay, all the different types of social proof that you need to be using on your Instagram stories in order to make sales. So before I get too excited, let's dive in and walk you through what exactly is inside Instagram stories to sales. So in this first lesson here, I actually walk you through a very, very potent transmission in terms of your identity, the identity that you need to embody to become a 5 and 6 figure per day earner. Because right now you can have all the strategies, you can have all the protocols, you can have all the processes, but you actually need to begin embodying the identity of a woman who makes sales in her business daily. Girl, what you have been doing right now is not working, full stop. Okay, and that is why you're even watching this video and why you're thinking about buying into this program. So this is a very, very potent lesson for you around identity. And I really speak to who you need to begin embodying and how you do that, okay? And it starts with very, very, very small things that you're probably not even thinking about right now. So I love this lesson. It's so juicy. Now I'm going into why your Instagram stories aren't converting. So the very, very common reasons, and I know y'all are going to feel super called out here. There's potent things in here in terms of your mindset. There's things here in terms of your strategy around like what you're posting and the frequency of what you're posting and all those beautiful, juicy, missing elements that you need in your Instagram stories right now to help sell your offers. I have my own framework for story selling, and it gives you a really broad overview of actually what you need on your Instagram stories. Okay, it's the 4 Ps for higher conversion, and that is your baseline. This is your high-level overview of what you need day in and day out on your Instagram stories in order to convert people from finding you from your reels, right? Finding you from your grid content and then nurturing them on Instagram stories. So that's what Instagram stories are meant to do. They're meant to nurture people into becoming paying clients and customers. Your stories are meant to be there to build trust and connection with you and ultimately make sales. Okay, and you can absolutely make sales from your grid, but obviously this program is centered around stories. The story bump technique. So if you get really frustrated around how your Instagram stories always, the views rather get really low, I'm teaching you different story bump and story renew techniques to get this higher. Okay. And I'm telling you the frequency of how to implement this and all the different ways that you get to implement this so your audience doesn't get fatigued around it. Selling to different buyer types. So sales psychology, there's so much in sales psychology that is super overwhelming. And there's many different buyer types, but I simplify everything. I'm all about simplify and then implement. Okay. Simplify, integrate, implement. Just so topics and frameworks and these sorts of things are just easy and digestible. So I'm teaching you the 3 core buyer types that you need to sell to and how to infuse different elements of sales psychology to create urgency and scarcity so people actually buy now. All right, magnetic messaging. So it's not only just important to sell, but it's important what you say in your sales sequences. It's important what you say on your stories, the messaging, the verbiage, the language that you use. You want to do 2 things. You want to create resonance with your ideal client's current reality. And we also want them to know that our offer is the gap that bridges their current reality with their desired reality. Okay, so this lesson is massive. It's huge. It's all about magnetic messaging. This is going to help you really start getting inside the mind of that ideal client and creating messaging that magnetizes them to come into your world. Okay, how to establish trust and authority with a cold audience, right? So in my frameworks, if you follow what I teach you to post on stories, you should be able to nurture people into becoming a paying client and customer within 14 to 21 days, okay? 2 to 3 weeks, you should see results from these stories. But girls, my selling sequences and what I teach you and all of this doesn't work unless you implement all of it, which is why you need to come into this program grounded and regulated. Take your time to go through every single lesson and integrate each little thing. Application and integration of information is important. There's no point coming inside a program if you're just going to watch a couple of videos and then not implement anything. So how to build trust and authority with a cold audience, very, very important. Why curiosity is the miracle ingredient on your stories, right? We don't realize that sometimes we leave everything out in the open and then there's no reason for people to keep sliding through each of our stories. So curiosity is really important. And here I also talk you through a couple of tips and tricks in terms of what you're probably not doing right now. Like I imagine when you're sick or when you're really busy, you don't have stories posted. Okay, so I'm teaching you and giving you some little hacks and tips and tricks of things you need to have in your photo albums on your phone so that your business can function even when you're lying in bed sick, even when you only have 2 minutes that day for Instagram. And all of these things are really going to help make sure that you can generate sales every single day in your business. Now, I've given you 3 individual story selling sequences, okay? So here I'm breaking down the actual sequence itself, what it looks like, and here I'm breaking down an example, and I'm also giving you access to your very own Canva templates where you can literally plug and play these bad boys into your business. Like these templates are awesome. You can rebrand them. You import all of your messaging that you've done previously in the program to them. And then literally it's like sales made easy. This is all about plug and play and ease of sales, because right now I know for you that you're probably not selling enough on your Instagram because you literally don't have anything organized. You don't know what to write. You feel awkward selling. You're doing the awkward thing of like, oh, I don't want to bother my audience. Oh, it's too much effort to think about what to say. So you get overwhelmed and you just don't end up selling your services and your offers. So this is sequence number 1. Here is the access to the Canva template for you. Selling sequence number 2. This one's a little bit different. It's beautiful. It's so fun. It's playful. Again, you get Canva access template here. And then story sequence 3 is quite different to the other 2. So this is quite a unique sequence where we're using more problem-aware content. If you don't know what that is, you need to get inside Stories to Sales, and you also need to watch my bonus lessons at the end, which are my content trainings for your grid. Your grid and your stories aren't 2 separate things. They actually need to work in conjunction with one another. Your grid content needs to nurture what's happening on your stories. Okay, and these are all your beautiful, juicy bonus lessons. So inside, this is like, oh my God, this is like bonus juice. It's a 1 hour and 10-minute Instagram grid content strategy training. I'm giving you another messaging worksheet to even go a layer deeper. I'm giving you a full social media content planner, okay? This content planner is so cool. It's an Excel spreadsheet where you go in and you brand. I'm actually gonna open it up and show you what it looks like. It is super, super cool. Hopefully Zoom is showing you this, but you set everything up here, platforms that you use, what your content pillars are, types of content that you're sharing, and then you go in and map everything out, okay? What platform it's for, the topic that you want to speak to, the content pillar, the format, is it carousel, is it post, and the status. Do I need to create scheduled live posted. Okay, so this is just like literally the coolest content template that you will ever need to keep you hyper organized and always making sure you have content in advance. Then I have a posting calendar template to give you an example of how you need to be breaking down your grid content and what you need to post. So girls, on this whole program is just laid with juice. It is the amalgamation of what needs to be posted on your grid to generate cash, to build trust, to build an authentic community and connection with people. It is the mindset, it is the embodiment, it is the identity of making sales. It is sales strategy. It is sales embodiment. It is sales mindset. But more than anything, it is all about nurturing and building relationships on those stories. So girls, get inside of this offer. I'm so excited to have you all here. The first program in over a year. I have put my sweat, blood, and tears into this, and I cannot wait to see you inside the program. Big love, Em.